there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
I'm Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
Welcome to what is going to be our promo breakdown and theories for Doctor Who Season 12, Episode 7, entitled Can You Hear Me? Which feels like a pretty important question, I think, to ask at times when you need a little bit of clarity. We don't have a lot of clarity on Doctor Who Season 12 at the moment.
No, we really don't.
We have,
Except be good to the environment.
Yeah, there's the real lesson, everyone. Just go use reusable plastic. Don't, be careful of birds, by the way. I don't think I said this in the reaction yesterday. That was not an episode for people with, bird phobias. Yeah, this was not... we're going from that, by the way, to now, monsters living in, this is
which is my next big phobia, the monster in the closet.
Yeah, I feel like showrunners for Doctor Who, they just have, a phobia checklist. They're like, okay, who can we screw over this week? We'll talk...
The bird people, the boogeyman people.
Yeah, there is some of that coming up, but we're going to go through the promo. We've got a few different observations and ideas. Before we talk about it, though, if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. We will have a reaction to Can You Hear Me after it airs. Okay, so the monster aspect of this, first and foremost, has to be paramount. It does feel like it's the boogeyman. You got 3 claws that are just rah in the promo.
Yeah, which is so crazy to me when I saw this promo, because this is legit my fear from when I was a kid. I had the boogeyman in the closet. It was always something, had this weird decrepit hand with these big long claws that was always going to come and get me. So when I saw this preview, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have nightmares for months with this, but I'm here for it. I really like Doctor Who when it gets kind of dark and kind of creepy.
Yeah, and I think this is something, I joke about them having a list of phobias, but I'm sure that they probably actually do think a lot about what are some things that scared us when we were younger, and how do we kind of incorporate those into the story. But, the goal's not going to be, I think, to leave people terrified after this episode.
I don't know. It's possible that, we've seen Boogeyman play out on TV all over the place, and it's usually turns out to be, okay, there's nothing there, and everybody's feeling much better by the end of the episode. But my feeling is maybe, because it's Doctor Who, this isn't going to be one of those things. Yeah, they're going to probably tie it up, but it's actually going to be a boogeyman. There'll actually be some sort of alien or creature or monster. There's going to actually be something. And that is what's going to bring that to the next level of kind of terror.
I think they're going to have... It might be a real boogeyman, but then at the end, I still think with a little bit of hope and magic, and, I'm not maybe being a little bit crazy here, but I think there is hope for hopefulness at the end of the Sunshine and Rainbows Doctor Who monster episode that we're getting.
I think they'll tie it up by the end, but the aspect that I think is just going to be that there will be some sort of actual boogeyman or actual monster, and that's kind of a cool concept for me, because like I said, normally it's you'll have an episode of whatever, Criminal Minds, and Matt Simmons will be, his kids will be like, oh, there's a monster under the bed, or whatever, and he'll figure it out, and then it's nothing.
Yeah, it's just Goobler wearing a monster costume.
That's right, but here, there's going to be something, more substance to this. Something to actually be afraid of that the Doctor can take on.
Here's some good news, though. The next, I think, important point to make from this promo: Graham is going to have a role, and, I don't know if this is going to be Graham getting to contribute positively or not, which Graham just feels like he's bumbling through a lot of Season 12 at the moment.
Yeah, this past episode 2, oh man, and I hate saying it, but I've been having a problem with Graham, because he has felt a little bit like he has been bumbling through the season. Even in this past episode, he's basically holding a GPS, and he can't even have it held up right. And if he's going to be a companion, he's going to be helping, he's going to be part of the team, then he needs to be a little more on the ball and contributing a little bit more. So this episode, I'm looking forward to them actually having something for Graham to do.
Yeah, it seems like he's having images that are being projected in his brain somehow, and maybe the Doctor is going to help getting those out, and maybe they will contain a clue that will resolve what's going on with these monsters. Yep. Maybe it will all be linked. I mean, this may not be Graham intentionally helping by any means. He may just sort of stumble into it because it just happens to be in his brain.
Maybe, and I'm hoping it's not going to just be a stumble. I really do want to see a little bit more for Graham this season.
Yeah, I don't want him to just be everybody's, either their parent or grandparent out there who doesn't know how to use a computer. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think we, at least all of us who are over 30, we all know that relative, and we've had to teach them how to use it.
Absolutely, but I feel like if you're traveling with a doctor and all this, that you are going to know how to use something like a tracker. Yeah,
I would hope so. So, point number 3, I think this is interesting because this is coming from the synopsis. We've got a few different things happening in this episode. We've got a cry for help that is coming from outer space.
Yep.
There's one. There's something terrible in terms of creature danger in 1380 Aleppo, which way back in the past, much further back in the past than we've really been going as of late.
Yep.
And then also in Sheffield, there's some other problems with nightmares. So it feels a lot like this is episode 7 again, where it's like, okay, here are a few different things that are happening. We got to link them together, except now they've sort of just like pumped in a lot of like Doctor Who steroids, and now it's like happening all across time and space.
Yeah, and I'm all right with that as long as there's something for kind of everybody to do. Because some of the small criticism that I have had of this season is just that not everybody has something to do. So that's what I'd really like to see, and it feels like we're kind of getting there.
I hope so. I fear the ambition. Like, it's good to be ambitious in life. I mean, really, it is, but you're also putting in 3 different potential worlds.
It's true.
You already have 3 different companions. Sometimes Doctor Who is best when it's simple. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to solve the entire problems of the universe. Well, you do need to do that, but not always in a single hour.
Well, my hope is that they really are going to be connected in some kind of way. Because if we've got stuff like a boogeyman happening here and nightmares happening over here, I mean, those things are kind of connected anyways.
Yeah, and this, speaking of connections, it does bring me to the number 4 point. Listen, and no, that's actually what I mean. Listen, I'm talking about the episode entitled Listen from Season 8. I mentioned this briefly yesterday, but can you hear me? Listen, it feels like those are variations on the same thing when it comes to titles.
It does.
And Listen was an episode that was, at least in part, about monsters and monsters being under your bed. It's not the same thing, but it feels like, I don't know if Chris Chibnall's just a really big fan of the Listen episode, which I understand Listen is probably one of the best Peter Capaldi episodes, but I feel like kind of at the same time, we already have Listen, so I'm just like, listen, and I'm using it the right way this time. Doctor Who, if you're gonna do this episode and you're paying homage to Listen, it better be at least like 75% as good as that episode was.
My hope is actually that, and I know it was more of a standalone episode, but my hope is that there's actually going to be, if they're going to do this, that it's not just an homage, but that there will be some kind of connective tissue to these 2 episodes. It feels a little bit too much of a on the nose.
Yeah.
We're going to have Listen and Can You Help Me? And then they're both about monsters. And then there's not any connective tissue. That's kind of my hope.
Yeah.
I don't have really a lot to go on except those things.
Yeah.
But to me, that's enough. There's enough smoke happening there that maybe.
I don't know. It's Doctor Who. They can throw you through loops sometimes. But I think they obviously want us thinking about this.
Yeah, they do. And we are.
Yeah. Here we are talking about it. All right. So finally, let's get to point number 5, and that is, will this episode be, like Listen, relatively standalone in nature, or will it be connected to these sort of larger things that are going on? We've had the Timeless Child be an element to the story. I mean, mostly it was brought up kind of in the early going, what happened in Gallifrey.
Yep.
You know, we've already seen at least discussions about who is the timeless child, this doctor we met recently on the show. And then there's also the Lone Cyberman questions, which brought back John Barrowman, so I will never be upset about anything that brings back Barrowman.
And the thing is we don't have a lot of episodes left.
No.
So
4.
Yeah, so if they want to start kind of zeroing in on some of these questions, the time is now.
Yeah, I feel in my gut that they're not going to. I feel like because it's a 2-part finale, I think they're going to save some of it for then. And if I'm going to this is my really long game theory here, as this may be really setting myself up to be wrong, but I think the Lone Cyberman stuff will be in the 2-part finale. I don't know if we're going to find out this timeless child mystery this season. I almost feel like that's going to be like the end of Jodie's time as the Doctor, and we'll finally get around to it.
I think we're going to have something in this next episode. I'm not saying we're going to have everything. It is a 2-part finale, so I think that that's really where the meat of everything's going to be. But even like in this last episode, which felt like kind of just its own sort of standalone, don't pollute the planet and stop using plastic, that we had, just still little elements of it. We still know that she's looking for something. She knows something's kind of after her. Something's coming.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been forgotten.
No.
So I think that thread is still going to be pulled in the next episode.
And I'll be happy with that. You don't need to give us everything right away. Remind us of what's out there, but then just capture the magic. Listen was so good, and I'm not going to keep going on about it because it was so imaginative, and I think it played into fears, but it also played into conquering fears. I want this episode to be similar, at least in terms of being awesome. Please, Doctor Who, we're not coming off a particularly great episode here. We gotta just change the trajectory and bring it up.
Yes, I've gotten the message. Stop being mean to the planet. Loud and clear. Next, let's move into some really good monsters, some really good adventures. I'm ready for this episode.
All right, well, that's our breakdown of Season 12, Episode 7, at least in promo form. But what do you guys think is coming? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking that link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we'll see you here next time.